Hello everyone and welcome back to another daily tutorial video, and today I'm just going to be showing you how to start out in Factorio. Disclaimer, I have already made this video, but it's a bit long, so I'm just going to be condensing the 1 hour long video down to a few quick tips, and I will be trying to make this video about 5 to 10 minutes long, so let's get started. So the first thing you're gonna do is just create the world. So let's just do that. There you go. We're gonna use all default settings, as that is probably what you're gonna be going with for your first run. And as you can see right here, we spawn in. The first thing you're gonna want to do is click Alt on your keyboard. There you go. As you can see, these magazines appeared here. Now you could break down the thing, but that takes a really long time. To actually get this resource, you just hold Control and then click, and you're able to get it instantly. There we go. As you can see, we have done that. Now, it can also take an incredibly long amount of time to start out, just because you need coal and you also need a ton of iron at the same time. And as you can see, we don't start with either. But there is a workaround, and that is looking for huge rocks, as those contain stone, which we don't necessarily need that much of right now, but we will need it later, and they also contain coal. So huge rocks will look like this on the map. They'll be 2x3, so you'll be able to see them relatively easily. As you can see right here, expected resources, 37 coal and 37 stone. Now, what you're actually going to get is going to vary, but it doesn't really matter. You just walk up to it right here, and now you just mine it. Now, this might look like it's a really tedious process to actually mine this, but no, it is actually very, very efficient. As if you were mining this from the ground, it would take absolutely forever. So as you can see, now we have some coal, and over here we're going to get some more, so let's do that. So once we've actually gotten all of our resources right over here, we're going to want to do 3 things. Number 1, we're going to take our miner, and we're going to put it here. Now we're going to take our furnace, and we're going to put it here. Now we're going to take our coal, and we're going to put it here. This basically allows me to use 1, 2, and 3 to select these resources, even if there aren't any in my inventory. As you can see, I still have it here, so if I do obtain one, I will be able to select it. So it's just a way to speed things up. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to place down a miner, just like this, and we're going to place down a furnace, just like that. And we're just going to quickly fuel these up. Doesn't really matter how much I put in them, as it's not going to stay like this forever. We just want this to get some more miners. Now, while this actually mines, we're going to go look for some more of these huge rocks. Right here we have another one. You always want to be moving, and you always want to be collecting resources at the early parts of the game. You never want to lose a little bit of time, because a little bit of time in the early game can lead to losing hours of time in the later game, in the later parts of the game. And obviously you also don't want to just stand around ever. You always want to be crafting something in your inventory when you have the resources for it. And you also have to be careful, as you can have a spawn like this where there's a lot of small biter bases really, really close. But in this case, it should be fine. Also, if you spawn inside of a desert, you might just want to restart if it's your first run, because it's going to be insanely difficult, unless you like the challenge. If you like the challenge, just go for it. But the main issue here is the fact that you might not have any trees. And if we go over to this production statistics button and go over to pollution, as we can see, currently the soil is taking pollution out of the sky, and so are trees, or in this case, one tree is also taking pollution out of the sky. Which means our pollution is currently being stopped. Now, where's our pollution? Well, it's right here. Almost every piece of machinery will be producing pollution, so you'll have to keep an eye out on this button. You just have it pressed down at all times. Really important, really important. You need to be able to know when your pollution cloud is expanding. And you need to be able to know when it is going to start hitting bases, because if this pollution reaches this base, for example, that has a spawner, what is going to happen is not only are the biters going to start getting stronger and they're going to start evolving, but they're also going to start attacking your base. So you're going to need to be prepared to actually defend your base. So let's go back here and see how much stuff we have by now. And we're going to move on to the next step of the beginner guide. So this has 40 iron plates. That is perfect. That is absolutely perfect. We're going to build 5 drills. We're going to build 5 drills, and we're going to start setting up our second pretty important setup. So this one's extremely simple. All you want to do is place down a miner like this, move it next to it, and click the R key, and then place it again, move it down, click the R key again, and place it down, then move it next to it, click the R key, place it down. As you can see, right now, we have this daisy chain of mining drills. And if I take one coal and put it in here, what's going to happen is all of these are going to start mining coal into each other's inventories, which is going to allow us to actually get some coal. So now, what we can do is we can use our 2 miners, start mining iron into 2 furnaces, and making everything a little bit more efficient. There we go. Now just take this. You can also hold the Z key while hovering over multiple buildings to fuel them up. It's especially useful at a time like this where you know you're not going to be keeping these up for long. These are just here for temporary purposes. So as you can see at the top, we have just unlocked steam power. So if you look at that research, you can see all we needed to do for that was craft 50 iron plates. For later researches, you're gonna need to actually make specific buildings. You're gonna need to get electronics, and that you can get by crafting 10 copper plates. So we'll just take some iron, and we are going to make a drill and a furnace, and we're gonna finish this one immediately, just so I can start getting to the power stage of the game. There we go. Now those are just going to be completing the mission in the meantime. As you can see right at the top, electronics has started. Electronics has shown up here. If we go into here, I can just take out the 17 coal. Quite honestly, all you need to do is just leave a little bit of coal in the last one, or if the line is this far away, you can just take everything and you'll be fine. So now, your main resource that you need is iron. So you're gonna want to make as many of these drill and furnace combinations on iron as possible, as you want to just get a crazy amount of iron early game. You want to have as much iron as humanly possible. What you also want to do now is get 36 iron and 15 copper plates. We have 14 copper plates right here, and now we have 15. Now I just need a little bit of iron, and we're going to be able to build our laboratory, which is one of the most important buildings in the game. You'll be able to see why in just a second. I'm just going to do the same thing I've been doing, and I'll cut back once we have enough iron for the lab. So as you can see, we now have enough iron for the lab, so we're just going to create the lab, and as you can see, it's going to create a lot of resources. This is something really important that we're going to start off with, and that is you need a lot of intermediate products. when you craft something that you don't actually have, that requires things that you don't actually have in your inventory, but you have the raw resources to be able to craft it in your inventory, it will craft the intermediate product automatically. But there is a little issue with this, and that is the fact that each of these resources can take upwards of 0.5 seconds. So in that case, it made the actual crafting time way longer than it should have been. So we're going to be taking care of that in a later stage in the tutorial. So now, we're going to want to chop down a few of the trees. Just a few. We need a little bit of wood to start off with. And now we can go back to the iron, grab as much as possible, go back to the copper, grab everything that is in there, just grab it all. There we go. And now you're gonna go over to this one, and you're gonna craft a bunch of electric poles. Now while those are being made, I'll also make one inserter, and a steam engine, a boiler, and an offshore pump. So what we can now do is just go down to the water. As you can see, we are now just going to be taking care of our electricity needs. So let's take care of that very quickly. And so you want to make this setup, at least for the beginning of the game. You want to make this specific setup. You're going to go to this chest, and you're going to put just all of the coal you have in it. And from the remaining starter wood you have, because in this specific tutorial we did not use the starter wood, you can just kickstart your production. There we go. We now have electricity that is being produced. Now, you might find it really tedious to get the maximum efficiency out of your electric poles, but what you can do in this game is just find one spot with maximum efficiency, like this one, click it, and then keep holding, and then just go where you need to go, and it will automatically be placed at near or perfect maximum efficiency, as you can see. So that's a cool thing that Factorio does for you. It just allows you to do what you need to do just easier. Now, while we were down there, we got a ton of iron, 229 plates to be exact, so we can start working on our transport belts. We're gonna need a lot of those. At this point, we're not going to need any more burner mining drills. We want to stay away from burner mining drills, and just immediately move on to electricity-powered mining drills. So we're going to be doing that, as it's a little bit more efficient when it comes to pollution. So let's just quickly take out all of our coal, and we're back to 200 coal, so let's just feed up our machines. There we go. And if we go over here, we'll see we still have 5 fuel left, but we're just gonna fuel it up a bit more. Our copper demand is still insanely low, so we will be absolutely fine for the early game. And as you can see now, I could technically make 60 automation science packs. So now, let's get into science. So I'm gonna place down a lab right here. Right here, it needs to be next to a power pole. It is a building that requires electricity, so you might want to actually build it later, depending on what you want to go with. And now we're just gonna have to wait for these packs to be done crafting. So I'll be back once they are done. So as you can see from my inventory, we have 10 automation science packs. So what we can do now is we can press the T key and we'll be on this screen. And what we want to start off with right here is automation. As you can see, it's exactly 10 science packs, as seen right here. Later researches get pretty expensive. As you can see here, we need 1,000 science packs, and it's 3 different types of science packs, so pretty demanding. But right now, we just want to click on automation, and we want to click start research. And now I'm just going to show you my personal order for researches. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go to logistics, and we're going to click in queue research. So we'll start this immediately after we're done with automation. Electric mining drill, in queue research, and the fast inserter, in queue research. From here, You might need gun turrets, you might not need gun turrets, you might need military, you might not need military in this specific place, but one thing you'll always need is logistics science packs, so include that as well. Now, if you do have an issue when it comes to biters attacking your base, make this before the fast inserter, and make this just as early as possible. Sometimes military is actually better than, well, logistics when it comes to defending your base and starting your expansion. So now, what we can do is we can just open up the lab and place our 10 science packs right here, and we are going to start our research. Now we're just going to collect our iron once again. It's a thing you're gonna have to do throughout the whole game, so be prepared for that. And we're just going to go up here and take a bit of coal. So now we have 222 pieces of coal. We also want to keep checking on our chest. We want to obsessively check on that chest, so we need to go a little bit further. Here's a bit of a tutorial as well. Right here, a little pro tip. As you can see, we still have 111 pieces of coal in there. You don't actually need to go all the way down to check, as you have this massive area around you that keeps things loaded and high quality. So you can just look at it, and you'll be able to see that, yeah, it's fine. So, and we're just gonna go right back up here, and as you can see, we're at 60%. We're about 60% done with automation. That's cool. Now I'm gonna go back up here. We're gonna refuel just everything, as we are gonna start running out of everything. There we go. And we have 129. So overall, we're doing fine. This one will need a bit more. There we go. Good enough. I'm also gonna chop down a few more trees, as we're gonna have an issue with this at some point, as we're gonna need more power poles. As you can see, we also get an achievement for researching with automation, research technology using automation science packs. Here we go. New tip, long-headed inserters. You will also get these tips throughout the game. It doesn't really matter for this tutorial. You can keep it on or turn it off. Doesn't really matter. I personally find them annoying, but I have the game set up to be essentially what any new player will have, so that it is the most authentic and it makes the most sense for the viewer. So let's just do that, and we are good to go. So now we have a thing called assembling machines. This is going to be really important down the line, but it's not all that important right now. What we need to do is make some more electric poles. And I'm actually going to change the order, just like that. And so we get our electric mining drills faster. And I'm just going to start making some iron gears. In this case, I don't even need. In this case, I'm just going to make a few. We should be absolutely fine. As you can see, each automation science pack requires 1 copper plate and 1 iron gear wheel. So each of these gear wheels are actually one science pack. So now, what we're going to be able to do, because we have 2 different assembling machines, is I can just put one down here and put another one down here. Now we're just gonna get a electronic inserter. We never want to use burner inserters. They are a waste of everyone's time and money. There we go. And now what we're going to be able to do is extremely simple. We're just gonna make an iron gear wheel thing right here. There we go. And we're going to make automation science pack. There we go. And we're just gonna plop in our copper. Now we are going to be able to place our lab, or right now we're gonna be able to place it right over there. And we don't have enough copper, so let's get a little bit more copper. There we go. You can also walk while you're crafting. You know, you can walk while you're in the menu. So that's another really important thing to know early game. There we go. I just redirected everything a little bit, so we're able to work more efficiently. And now we're going to be researching somewhat automatically. It's not really full automation yet, but that is fine. You don't need full automation at the start of the game. At the start of the game, all you need to be able to do is you need to be able to actually just function. You need to be able to get your starter research up, and this is going to take you from the very beginning of the game to the electronic era, where you're able to set up your electric mining drills for the first time. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to wait for all of these researches to be completed. We're going to wait for electronic mining drills to be completed and logistics. You can still do stuff in the meantime, of course, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'll be right here until these are completed, and then I'll be back. See ya. So as you can see, we have now finished the electric mining drill research, so we're just going to immediately start crafting these. You want to have as many as possible by the time that your logistics research is finished, as that is when this is actually going to become necessary. So we're just going to be crafting as much as possible. I'll just take all of the coal out of these. There we go. And we'll just fuel up the entire line. So let's get to work. There we go. Now we're going to go fuel up this one as well, as it is getting quite low. There we go. We're going to do the same over here. There we go. And we're done. We also want to take our copper. And now we have essentially finished the beginning parts of the game. What you're going to want to do now is very simple. Still, iron is still your most important resource. So you're going to set up most of your miners on iron. We will also have another thing that we need to take care of now, which is going to be having at least one mining drill on coal that only supplies to your electricity network, as your electricity network right now is insanely volatile. So I'll just place it right here, and we'll start running a conveyor belt down to our electricity. So let's just get that started. It is going to take a lot, and I mean a lot of iron plates, but you're going to be able to do this eventually. In my specific case, as you can see, I already have plenty of iron, so I should be relatively fine. I might even be able to just have enough resources to get it done. But what you can do here is very simple. You just want to actually connect the water, electricity plant, and the coal electric mining drill that you just placed down, which will allow you to have infinite power. As right now, we have 93 coal left, which is not going to be enough, because if I just connect everything right now, we're going to be running through electricity more than 10 times faster. So what this is going to lead to, if I actually do this right now, which I'm gonna do anyway just to demonstrate, I'll also take down all of my regular drills. There we go. We're just gonna run a bit of a belt, and we can just look up at this. As you can see, if we set it to 1 minute, we can see there's a massive spike in the amount of electricity we're using. In fact, we're almost out of electricity that we can produce, which means we're going to be running through our electricity way faster. So all we want to do now, since we're already going to be running through electricity insanely quickly, we want to connect this one specifically, so we can start stockpiling. The coal that we're going to need to get our electricity back online, as this could be enough strain on the network to just take it out of commission for a bit. Right now, we've almost finished our belt, and once we finish this belt, the beginning of the game is essentially finished. There we go. The belt is now finished. So I can just craft our final inserter, and boom. What you want to do is you want to remove this chest altogether, as the chest is actually just going to interfere in the long run. It is just going to stop you from expanding. There you go. New tip, splitters. Splitters are also really useful, just not at the moment. If you want to see why, go look at my belt balancer guide on YouTube. I have it linked in the description below. So as you can see, right now the belt itself is empty, but we do have 40 coal in here, so we'll be fine. If we just go up here, we can see that coal is going to start going down this conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt itself will start acting like the chest. So now that we've taken care of all of this, we're going to want to expand our electricity network, as it's actually not big enough anymore. It's not going to be able to supply any more growth for us. So all you need to craft for this is a bunch of steam engines and a bunch of boilers, depending on how much electricity you need. I will go out and build a little bit of overhead by building 2 new steam engines and 2 new boilers instead of 1, allowing us to expand a tiny bit faster. And once we have done this, we are going to have everything we need to actually start the game. From here, what you're going to want to do is just properly automate your research and start working on automating everything else, as you just want everything to be really automated and everything to be heavily automated. In this game, this is a game about automation after all, so you're going to need to automate. I'll be making tutorials about that as well, but we're going to end this tutorial off here. So as you can see, we went from nothing to having a little starter base. We have a little bit of a patch coming out. We have a little bit of a belt coming out of iron. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this save and we're going to get it to the new Space Age expansion. And we're going to slowly go through all the steps of the game one by one. So don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications for more tutorials just like this one. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!